Hello, my name is Ilona and I'm doing another video in my series Shadowwork. I'm going to answer a few more questions. I want to thank everyone for reacting and I'm just picking out some questions. If you still have some things you'd like me to look at or want to discuss, then you can send me, of course, an email, warekracht@protonmail.com. You can find it in the description. And maybe there's something you want me to look at. Obviously, I will see what resonates with me, so I will pick out, of course, questions and topics that feel right for me to say something about. And in this video, I want to talk about, first of all, the question, which I thought was a very good question. When are you finished with the shadow work? Well, it's very easy. If you have a wonderful life and you feel wonderful, you're doing the things you want to do, you feel passionate about your life, that's usually a very good indication that you are on the right track. And there's probably not a lot of shadow work you still have to do. Doesn't mean that you cannot still face things, but you will be looking at it with a different mentality. Like, oh, well, this will help me heal. So I'm just going to see where this will take me. And because still some things can suddenly come up. That's always a possibility. But usually when you really are on the right track in your life, then obviously that's a sign that there's not a lot of shadow work left. So you should just enjoy your life in that case. And that also kind of answers the question, when should you do shadow work? Well, you can just look at your life. Are there areas in your life that things are just not going smoothly? There's certain issues that just keep on happening. You know, you can just really look at that and like, oh, there's something I need to see here. There's some pattern I should look at. So shadow work is in a way very simple. Things don't work out in your life, you can look at it and see if there are patterns there and work your way through that. But if you have a wonderful life, well, good for you, I'd say. Wonderful, because that will mean that you have a very high frequency and you're attracting what you want to attract. So in that way, just keep on shining and keep on doing what you're doing. That's a clear indication you don't have to do a lot of shadow work, but it can still happen. Something can come up. Also question, how do you get from your head to your heart? And that's very interesting to me because I've been living mostly in my head for a very long time in my life because I just couldn't handle my emotions, my feelings. I wasn't taught that way either. But there are also people that are completely in their emotions. And for them, it's very important to, if they want to balance their heart and their head, to maybe be more rational at certain things. So observe instead of getting completely carried away by their emotions and just take a step back and look at it in a different way, a more rational way. That's a possibility as well. But because I am more focused on, of course, from my head to my heart, I usually attract people that come for consultations to me. You know, they want to have a personal reading with me that will have similar issues that they're too much in their head. Well, if you really want to connect with your heart, it's in a way kind of simple, though really doing it is not that simple, is to feel, to connect with your feelings and emotions. So if something triggers you, something hurts you, anger, frustration, maybe just love, see where you feel it in your body and connect with that. That's also part of shadow work. If there are things that are painful, fearful, anger, you can connect with it. Just see where it is in your body. You automatically will connect with your heart as well because you're just breathing through it, just feeling it without analyzing it, without being on top of it. It's very important that if you want to connect with your feelings and emotions, you surrender yourself to that. It's not like a rational process. It's not like this list of things you have to do and then you check. Oh, I'm done with emotions and feelings. No, you really have to work through that, surrender, and really kind of ride the wave of the emotions and the feelings by breathing through it, but not getting completely caught up in the emotion, completely dragged down by that. That's a possibility as well. So that will help you connecting with your body because it's not just your head and your heart you want balance, but also really feeling yourself physically in your body. I think it's grounding that is very, very important. I've noticed myself while working, I've been analyzing for so long. I finally, started feeling and getting in contact with my emotions and feelings, which was very important to me. But the issue was that, I started, first when you start feeling, you need a little, how to say this, not too long, because your system is not ready for that. So maybe first 5 minutes, then you can build it up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, things like that, to build that up. But, after 50 minutes or after 10 minutes, I would stop. I would start doing other things because, of course, I have a life as well. I have to do things as well. I still had that feeling with me. It's almost like it was drawing all this attention. And I've noticed that I didn't have the time at that moment to truly feel through it because, I had things to do. I didn't want to analyze it because obviously that's not going to help when things are emotional level. But I wasn't grounded. I just didn't ground myself. So instead of being in my head, I was now being in my emotions. That didn't help very much in that case. So to truly align yourself, your head, your heart, it's very important to ground yourself, really truly ground yourself. So you can really start manifesting what you want and what you want to send out to the world. So I want you to talk about that for a minute. And of course, very interesting, when is it your intuition and when is it your resistance? Very important, because your intuition, if you make a decision based on your intuition, you will feel peaceful. It will make you happy. But, and that's the issue with resistance, and it sometimes is tough because intuitive you could feel and sense, and I have a lot of people with consultations, when I tell them what I see or how I feel things, they usually say something like, oh, I already knew this deep down inside, but they didn't want to listen to it because the resistance came in. If you are in a certain pattern, like for instance, always saying yes to people, always doing things, now this pattern is there for a reason. So going against this pattern is going to be very difficult at first, especially if you don't see the pattern or you're aware of it. You do feel like this intuitive feeling like, no, I should say no, I should take care of myself better. But then the resistance comes in like, no, you can do that, then people won't like you, or you feel guilty, you feel bad about yourself. Then the resistance kind of makes sure that you're not following your intuition. So that's why it's so important to really truly look at your patterns and understanding your patterns, because then you can also see what is really intuition and what is resistance. You could also have a resistance that makes sure that you're confused all the time. I hear that as well. I'm so confused, I just don't feel my intuition anymore. Well, your resistance is purposely doing that because really deep down inside, you do feel your intuition. And if you're going to follow that, it's going to create a certain upheaval in your life. It's going to change things. Maybe you feel that you're not with the right person or the right partner. That's going to be shocking. So you remain confused so you don't have to take steps. So intuition is usually a deep sense of feeling good, feeling, peaceful if you make that decision. It's really a deep feeling that's deep inside, that should be the way you should go. Resistance is usually up here. You'll start breathing, higher up. You will get anxious. You will get frustrated. You may start, run around in your head, all these things happening all at once. So it's very important with resistance that it's usually something that is bringing you down, your energy down. Your intuition will bring you up. So that's the difference. And like I've mentioned, it's very possible that your resistance makes sure you don't sense your intuition or don't dare to take the steps because of the pattern you're in. Very important to figure out your pattern, because that will keep you locked in. If you don't see it, or if you keep having blind spots, you won't be able to truly get out of it. And it's frightening in a way to just follow your intuition, but it's so important to really take those steps and follow what is important to you. Okay, let's see. So I've talked about intuition and resistance. Your inner child, I got the question as well, is how do I talk to my inner child? How do I connect with my inner child? And it's really about those patterns. So usually I look at the person's life right now, what they're dealing with. It usually comes from their growing up, what they've gotten from their families. It's possible this is from past lives or future lifetimes, because ultimately time doesn't exist. But I'm just looking at now, because everything you have in you is now. You carry it with you. So it could be past lifetime. I've seen it in reading. Suddenly something pops up, and sometimes it is important to know, and sometimes it's important to just feel through it, because if you connect with that part from pain or anger or frustration or anything that's stopping you or fear, you are also connecting with that part from past lifetime. So if you heal it right now or work through it, healing it now, then you're also healing those parts in the future and in the past. It's all connected. So that's very important to understand. That's why you usually just look at the life now. Where is someone? What's happening? What are the patterns? So if you want to connect with the inner child, you want to connect with, the pain from the uprise, how you were brought up, your raising, how people were raising you, your parents, obviously. If you want to take a look at that, maybe take pictures from that time. Maybe really visualize this child in front of you, or maybe inside of you. It's very important that you find your method. And you can also just use things that are happening now in your life. Maybe some things at work, or just with your, your partner or your family, things happening. That is already what you feel in your body. Fear, anger, pain, whatever comes up is already an entry into the wound, so to speak, of that inner child, or just these old pains from maybe former lifetimes. It doesn't really matter. You're already feeling inside. It's already a portal to that, so to speak. You're already entering that wound. So you can just start healing with what's happening right now. So sometimes you don't even have to look all the way back, but I have noticed it helps. So connecting with your inner child, pictures from your youth, maybe talk to people that were there when you were growing up, maybe just connecting with what's happening right now. It's also a possibility to look at your parents. And when you work with your parents, it's energetically. You don't, if they're still alive, you don't go over there and start just throwing everything out of there. What comes up, that's not necessary. Energetically, you are talking to your father or you're talking to your mother. It's very important to keep them separately. So don't put them together. You're talking to your father or you're talking to your mother, or you're writing letters to your mother or your father, and you burn those letters afterwards. So it's not really about talking to them, sorry about that, but it's about giving a voice to that inner child or to that pain or anger. That's why be careful with forgiving your parents too soon. I've noticed that in my own education as an essential therapist, that we were supposed to forgive our parents very soon. Yeah, well, they didn't know what's going on. Just be grateful, forgive them, and move on. Really what you're saying is to that child, yeah, could you just keep your mouth shut? Yeah, you're angry, you're sad because of all the things you've missed. Well, too bad, just forgive your parents and move on. It's not going to work. That's why you have to work for yourself, with yourself, to express that anger, to listen to that inner child, to give that inner child the attention to see that inner child, and to also really recognize and acknowledge that the child didn't get what they deserved. Doesn't matter that your parents were just not capable of doing it. The child deserved the love. The child deserved the attention. The child deserves, all those things. It deserved all those things. And it's important that you talk to your inner child like that, so you can feel that you deserve that as well. There are a lot of people walking around with, of course, a dysfunctional upbringing and still feeling like they're not worthy enough. They don't deserve love. They don't deserve attention. They don't deserve to be seen. And they have all these coping mechanisms to handle that. And it's really about seeing that inner child, seeing and giving that child the attention it deserves, the love it deserves. It's now up to you as a mature adult to deal with that. And it's very important that you do that, because that will heal you. So you won't have to use all these coping mechanisms to try to get it outside of yourself through friendships or through partners or through, all these things that you're still doing to just get that attention that you want, that recognition. That's why it's so important to work energetically and take the time to feel the anger, the pain, the fear, the sadness, to really let that inner child or that inner pain, fear, whatever it is, that it can express itself. Very important. So that's how you can connect with your inner child. You can just use what's happening right now, just use that as a way to feel through things. And you can, of course, put your father or put your mother, in a chair in front of you, visualize it, or maybe write a letter. It doesn't really matter, but that you connect with that inner child, or just take pictures from that time, maybe a photo album. It can bring you back certain memories, things like that. You can use all these things. And let's see. There anything I have missed? There is one more thing I want to discuss, and this is about chronic diseases and physical complaints you may have. Usually that's a sign that your body is trying to tell you something, and it's very important that you listen to it. Diseases, things like that, usually means that energetically something is not right. You have all these people that look into it. You have the German medicine, so to speak. I'm not sure. Germaanse geneeskunst, I'm not sure if I'm completely referring that or translating that in the correct way, but they look at that your body will react to something like emotional, and that a reaction can be, you can feel that in your body. I have the book from Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I'm not sure if that is the correct title, but Louise Hay has interesting books. In the back of the book, this is of course a Dutch book, there are all these diseases and physical ailments, and she has all these affirmations and what it could mean and how she interprets it. So you can just read it and see if it fits for you, because your body is unique. So your body will show you signs that is unique for you, just like with dreams. The certain symbol may not mean the same thing for you as it means for someone else. So it's very important when you read things like that, like the spiritual meaning behind a certain ailment or a certain thing that you encounter in your body, that you really feel, does this resonate with me? Maybe it's something else. But there are a lot of things you can just, in the language, we have a saying in the Netherlands that someone is literally means piss angry, and it means usually that someone is so angry about something. So people that could have something with their bladder, an infection there, could usually means that they're actually very angry. It could be, it doesn't mean, but if that's the case or not, but usually it means something very angry, or you've got something on your liver, something on your hips, things like that. You have all these expressions. So look at that and see if it fits with you, if it resonates with you. But everyone is unique. So your body is showing a message to you that is unique for you. I also have a book from Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate is When Your Body is Saying No. I hope that is the correct translation of the title in English. But that's really, he actually talks about people that are usually very giving. They give everything away. They do everything for someone else, and they get these chronic diseases, and it has to do with stress. They're completely stressed out, and that has an effect on their body, and that's why they, develop all these chronic ailments and all kinds of things like that. So it's very important also to look at yourself and am I really in my body? Am I grounded? Am I treating myself kindly? Am I treating myself with respect? If I just keep giving everything away and I'm not receiving anything, I'm going to burn myself out, and that will have an effect on my body. But it's very interesting, so I could even recommend that, Gabor Mate, to read that book about a way our bodies can also say no in certain situations. If we don't want to go somewhere or we want to stop something, suddenly something happens to our body. So we may break something or we may fall over, things like that. Your body can then say no for you. I've noticed that as well. In my family, certain things happening that people just get overwhelmed and their body just shuts down and they get sick and they sleep a lot and they are not really, you can't really talk to them at that moment. So you have all these methods, your body, to talk for you. So if you don't put up boundaries, then your body will do it for you. But like I said, read those information and really see what resonates with you. And of course, you also have that the left side is more female and the right side is more connected with the male, the masculine side that could be more related to your father, and the left more related with your mother and the mother line. But then again, see what is right for you and if it fits with you. And ultimately, you are the one that can decide whether something fits with you or not. I'd like to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.